In 5, 4, 3,
Cheap Flights
Cornbread. How's it going, everyone? This is Frank Cavone, the Cheap Flights Cornbread Podcast. How's it going, everyone? I am Frank Cavone, and we are here with episode 8 of the Cheap Flights and Cornbread Podcast. Thank you all for tuning in once again. As all of you know, you can watch this live on Facebook and YouTube every single Wednesday, and you can also listen to it on iTunes and Spotify. And today we have an early edition of the episode because we wanted to fit in one of our dear friends, Dustin DeLuke. How you doing, man?
Good. Thanks for having me.
I am so excited that you are finally on the podcast. I wanted to get you on when we were doing the Kind of Live, Kind of Living podcast.
Yeah.
But just so excited to have you. We're going to be talking a lot about what Dustin has been doing and how he keeps himself busy and just how multi-talented you are, man. Like, seriously, we talked about not stopping moving,
Yeah.
before this podcast.
Yeah.
And I think we should continue talking about that. I think it's something that a lot of people should hear about. But we are also here with the man, the myth, the legend, Wayne Bretsky Porter. How you doing?
Thanks for the nickname, Frankie. I'm doing good, man. I mean, geez, long week.
Long week, huh?
How's your week been?
My week's been crazy, man. I'm currently under a lot of deadlines. I'm not gonna lie, my brain is half here right now. At least tired wise, but basically just coming off a long week of shooting concerts here in Albany. Not a bad thing, not complaining whatsoever. We had some awesome talent here in the capital region. One of the acts being Twiddle, Midnight North, solid Midnight North performance. I just want to say I've been really hooked on. All right, in 5. Oh shit! Error. I've been really hooked on just some songs that I've been listening to on Spotify, which I will be talking about, and some recommendations that I have. But Midnight North busted out with the song I heard for the first time 2 weeks ago. I can't put the name to it, but it blew my mind. It was by Funkadelic.
Maggot Brain?
There's a lyric that says, "I used to have a life, but life had me." I have to look it up. But yeah, it's been a long week. A lot of editing, which also means there's going to be a lot of great content coming out on Mirth Films. One of them being this upcoming Monday. You can watch the premiere of Glass Pony's set from Lark Hall, which was really exciting, and it includes a sit-in with Organ Fairchild. Full band sit-in, all on one stage.
Nice. Super
crazy, which I don't know if you've listened to Organ Fairchild.
Yeah.
Blown away.
Yeah.
Blown away by their talent.
Did they play Motown before?
They might have played Motown. They've actually been playing music for over 30 years.
Okay, so did they? They may have. So this is kind of funny because not too long ago. Well, actually, maybe it may have been a while ago now because COVID was like a wormhole where I think everything was like that just happened was like 2019. It's like my brain skipped over the last few years. But I posted a picture that you shot of me at Motown when it was raining and there was like 10 inches of mud everywhere, and I had an enormous beard that was like this big, and I was wearing a tie-dyed suit, and I had no shoes and socks because my shoes got swallowed by the mud. And I'm pretty sure, so I posted that, you took the picture, and you never knew it was me.
I did, yeah, and I'm really happy you brought that up.
It didn't look like me, in all fairness.
Was like the first music festival that I shot, like actually going away to somewhere. I've been there once before, wasn't really into jam band music. I was super big into Metallica at the time, and like honestly, during each set of Mo, I sat in my car and just listened to Metallica. Like front to back. Isn't that lame? That's how close-minded I used to be. And I'm not even kidding, I was. So that year, I was like, there was like a few keyboardists that would like rotate in Wild Adriatic.
Yeah.
I had no idea that was you. And I remember asking you, because you had like this beard. You didn't even look the same.
No,
I don't even think you were wearing glasses. Maybe you were.
No,
you had like this top hat on, huge. You were in like a tie-dye suit.
Yeah, that was I bought a fully white denim, like Canadian tuxedo from Kmart. And
okay.
I couldn't find white anywhere, but it was like a couple months before Rock Boat, and there was like a tie-dye night or something. So the only clothes I could find in white denim that would fit me were like the women's section. at Kmart, which there was a Kmart like in.
Still in 2016, 2017.
Yeah, there was a Kmart in Greenwich. Yeah, it was
Okay.
in Greenwich. So I went in and I'm like, oh, I gotta find. I'm like, excuse me. I'm like, where do you keep all your men's white denim clothing? And they were like, what? Like, get away from me, you weirdo. And I was like, oh, okay, fine. I'll go to the women's department. That's way more normal. And I found it and it fit and it was awesome. And Andy, Travis's fiance, now tie-dyed the whole thing. But like,
wow,
I don't think I had many opportunities to wear it. So I was like, oh, I'm like, Modown, sweet, I'll wear this. But to come full circle, I think they played after us. Oregon.
That might have been,
I think.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm remembering the right band. I'll have to look and see. But I misspeak
sure.
a lot. We did that thing at the Palace, and I was like, I remembered a concert, and I like combined two concerts in my mind.
Okay.
And Jeff was like, what was one of your favorite moments at the Palace? And I was like, oh, obviously it was this moment. And I told him it was like the first solo Trey show I saw. And it was the tour where he was doing like 3 sets, I think. He was opening up for himself solo. And then he was doing a trio set with Tony and I can't remember who's on drums then, whatever, and then the full band. But somehow I like combined that show with another show, and 90%, in all fairness, just 90% of what I remembered was that show, but the other 10% like didn't happen. And I was like, yeah, it was a great memory. And then like later on, I was thinking about it, and I was like, that was a great show. I was trying to remember the rest of the details, and I'm like, did that really happen? I'm like, why do I? It was a long time ago. It was like 20 years ago. So I'm like, wow, I just totally lied in an interview by accident, remembering 2 shows. It was like, Gordon Stone band. This. I'm like, wait, they didn't play that.
Dude, I feel you though.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. You go to or majorly working, 100 plus concerts a year. Maybe on average, maybe not every year, but between all the different acts you do, which I do want to say, I'm very happy that we've gotten to work together all this time, like after the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
Everything from your episode of Palace Sessions at the Palace Theater with Wild Adriatic, your work with Sly Fox and the Hustlers, two both rock bands, but Sly's core, I wouldn't say it like Southern rock, but definitely that blues rockiness that I don't know.
Yeah,
it reminds me of George Thorogood in a sense.
It's got a punk element
Pat Travers.
Also, because I feel like
the bassist. What's the bassist?
Dylan. Yeah.
Dylan. He's a pop punk guy.
Yeah. So it's got that edge to it also.
Yeah.
He just released a single like on Valentine's Day. Actually.
Shout out to Dylan.
So check it out. Or no, Sly did.
Sly did. Yeah. Oh yeah, Sly did release a single.
Shout out to everybody.
Yeah. I also want to give a shout out to his team behind him, Michelle Moyer. I think I shouted her out last podcast too, but she's been doing all the PR for him lately, and I think it's great for him because, it's getting the word to the outlets that, I don't know, maybe he didn't have before. And Sly's always been
a busy dude.
Yeah. What if he's not playing shows, he's booking shows, or he's doing sound at shows.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Renaissance man.
But let's take it back because there's so much we can talk to now on the surface of everything that's going on. Let's get to simpler times.
Sure.
Dustin, first playing a musical instrument. When did this come into your life?
My mom's a pianist. She's a classical pianist.
Oh, she's a classical pianist.
And a teacher, yeah. So I kind of just thought playing the piano was normal. I just thought everyone did it. So, I loved it, and I loved what I was listening to, but also I was like, I remember being in like, it must have been like first grade, kindergarten, and asking kids like, oh, when do you practice the piano? Like, they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, did your parents make you do it before or after dinner? And they're like, yeah, no, Nintendo, like, I don't know, what do you... So I was like, I'm like, this is not just a normal thing that everyone does. It's like, I'd go to someone's house, I'm like, where's your piano at, But I just loved it. My mom was always playing, and if she wasn't playing, she was teaching. I could hear her downstairs in the studio. She's an epic vinyl collection. Everything from, like, Miles, Bitches Brew, to, like, Quicksilver Messenger Service, to Zeppelin, to The Doors, so... as a little kid, I would just sit around in this big spinning armchair we had and just play with the records. I don't know why she let me just like use them as a little kid. I'm surprised I didn't ruin them all, but I would just listen and I'm like, oh, cool. I'm like, Bill Evans. I'm like, whoa. I'm like, okay, how come no one ever told me you can make a piano and do this stuff? And I'm like, oh, Ray Manzarek. Like The Doors. I'm like, hey, Mom, what is this guy talking about? Like, what is this, And then... I just kind of, I kept listening to stuff and playing. She was teaching me, you know, classical and whatnot. I'd go to the piano. I remember being like 4, we had the Story and Clark upright. I was just kind of like reaching up and playing and kind of tooling around on the keys. And I don't know, it was just fun. It was rewarding. It was like a creative outlet. Could have been anything. She could have been a chef. I'd probably be, you know, making cupcakes somewhere right now, you know.
Dude, and that's incredible. And it sounds like you had a wide variety of music coming through your house too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, classical. I mean, did you have to be brought up classically? Was that how you were trained?
I just liked it. Like,
I just liked it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was the dude. So I used to listen to Mozart on my Walkman on the bus, and I had piano key gloves, and like I still have a T-shirt. I should have worn it, man. I'll wear it next time. We'll have to do something else. I have a sleeveless Mozart T-shirt with all the dates of like his orchestral, you know, performances on the back, like it's a concert tee. And I used to just like dress like that and go to school. So basically I looked like Elton John when I was in 5th grade, you know? And kids would be like, what do you listen to? I'm like, Mozart's Requiem. They're like, sick. Is that MC Hammer? And I'm like, what? Like, no, it's Mozart. It's like there's strings and it's really intense and you get a really interesting emotional reaction. They're like, yeah, okay, cool. Like,
it's on like the low 80s or the early 90s on FM radio.
The 1780s. yeah. But yeah, man, it was all classical stuff, but she listened to everything, and my dad listened to everything. And one of the more pivotal moments, honestly, was when I was in 5th grade, and I did one of those like mass CD orders. And my older sister, Lona, I got to give her a lot of credit actually. I was like, hey, what do I order? What's cool? And she's like, well, she's always listening to Fish. She's like, you should order this and that. But the most important thing was when she's like, hey, you play the piano. You like this band, Medeski, Martin, and Wood. And I was like, okay, cool. She's like, order this album. It's called Shack Man. I'm like, awesome. I'm in 5th grade. So I ordered it, and I put it on, and it's like I could feel my brain changing from listening to it. And I think that album just had an insane impact on how I play and what I like, and I still love it.
It seems like maybe that album caused a transition in your life. And where we could, or maybe not, but I just want to say before we continue on, Dustin is the reason why we have a soundtrack for the Cheap Flights and Cornbread podcast. And dude, he literally, I just want to say, you have like one of the kindest hearts in the world. And I've even thought that before you did something like this, or just, I don't know, like once I got to know you, like, I don't know, it's nice to have somebody welcoming be at a show sometimes, because not everybody is approachable, because you could be in a situation at a show, maybe show up not on time, and maybe soundtrack's running late or something with with another band. People are losing their shit sometimes.
Yeah.
You seem to always keep your cool. You're a stand-up individual, and honestly, like, just thank you for being you.
Oh, dude, no, I here's the thing, like, so with the soundtrack to the podcast, I was watching, I was like, dude, I'm like, Frankie needs something rad happening here. Like, maybe I'll just make him something. So I get ideas, and it's like, sometimes it's painful to not just roll with the punches, like suppressing that. If I get an idea to do something, it'll bother me if I don't do it. So I was like, you know what? I'm like, he needs this. And plus, I've worked on both sides of the glass. So I do a lot of producing, and I've done like engineering and live sound and all kinds of stuff. And like, it's appropriate for you to accept the fact that you're kind of like working off stage in the shadows, whatever. But it's also cool to be acknowledged. So like, I see you hustling, man, especially at Twiddle. That was like, that was a lasting effect right there. Like, just seeing you were working how many cameras, like, by yourself? That was hilarious. You're like up in the balcony, then you were down here. I was like, Mateo, I'm like, does this dude have like a crew? What's that? He's like, I think he's just doing it all by himself. And I was like, what? How? I'm like, I don't know. And then you're turning around footage later that night. I'm like, does he sleep? Like, what's going on here?
I don't know.
It's just, I was like, this kid's working his butt off, so I can appreciate that. So I'd like to make sure you know.
Thank you so much.
Hook you up with some stuff,
I loved it. I thought it was. I immediately showed my girlfriend and like sent it to you, and like was like, this is starting to feel like something again. And I lost that when we stopped doing the podcast, and which was totally okay. Like, things were growing at a rapid pace for us, and shit got a little crazy, and like to be able to do this again and have the privilege to do this and have the time to do this, it's so much fun. And having something like that just makes it fun to do. Like it gives it that flair that a cheap flight to any, you know, destination should have, or any slice of cornbread should have. So, you know,
fair enough.
I'm totally rambling on at this point, but before jumping into, you know, the future here, you got this album, you're in 5th grade. You're developing your own sound of what you like, and this album changed your life.
Sure.
What stemmed from that?
Everything. Because, I mean, if you listen to that band or any like first generation jam band, which is what the scene was at the time, they're so eclectic and there's so many different influences. And I already listened to a pretty eclectic mix of music because of my mom's vinyl collection and whatnot. And, there's so many things to discover if you just scratch beneath the surface a little bit, because you discover those musicians' influences, which was a lot more difficult then, because, you know, it's not like you could just hop on the internet and be like, what does this dude listen to? Or like even ask them. Like,
right.
You know, it's like write a letter to like Billy Martin, and like when I'm 5th grade, like I'm not gonna do that. Like, where would I send it? You know, it'd be like sending something to the North Pole. You know,
it's like
send
Santa.
it to Shaq, man. Yeah. So I just started discovering other things based on what I was hearing and trying to figure out where it came from, or find something that sounded similar and then figure out what that was. You know, and that's how I kind of started to really understand and love jazz. But it was like my own interpretation of it, because I didn't really have any teachers.
Okay.
At that point, my mom, it was strictly classical with her. Not because she didn't want to teach me jazz, she just doesn't play it.
Right.
So she certainly could, but she just doesn't.
Was she accepting? Was she happy that you found your own thing within the
no doubt.
playing of the piano? Or?
Oh yeah, like
okay.
because she listens to all the stuff that she doesn't play also.
Okay.
Yeah, like she loves Zeppelin and all that stuff. So I was listening to all that, but I just started discovering all this other stuff, and I think the other album that I really latched onto after that was Bitches Brew, because the vinyl's crazy, you know, the artwork on it. And I remember just sitting there, which is kind of, I'm laughing because it's just a weird combination for a 5th grader to be listening to like Mozart and Bitches Brew, but I don't know, I just thought it was normal, you know. And I
no, that's
I'm
cool,
grateful though, because there was
found
so many
good music early.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's got their own definition of what good music is, but I think because those bands were, my instrument was involved in it, and it was like edgy, it was a way for me to get away from a traditional route and start exploring some other things, because that's the most difficult thing to do when you play an instrument like piano, because you can't, when you're in 5th grade and you want to play in a jazz band, you can't really go do that anymore, you know.
Yeah.
And it's hard to go play in like your buddy's garage band too. Like, what are you going to do?
Exactly. And
You know?
especially, I mean, just thinking about when I was around that age, I was influenced on Stevie Ray Vaughan and Led Zeppelin, stuff like that, guitar icons, you know. But, you know, I never really thought about thinking about, you know, an amazing pianist and how, you know, a kid looks at something they play and being inspired. And like, to me, I guess Deep Purple would be what would have done it for me. But I mean, it's gotta, I mean, just having that ear at a young age, it had to help you in your going forward.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's still, let's put it this way. Since I didn't have anyone formally explaining like what I was hearing and trying to show me how to do it, I would just mimic, you know, their musical mannerisms and rhythmic motifs and some simple harmonic concepts that I could wrap my brain around, and like some bluesier riffs, because it was an easier thing to pick up on from a theory perspective. And a lot of that stuff stuck with me, and I don't think I would have discovered that if I didn't attempt to learn the things that I was listening to. You know? And I think that's the most important thing, because theory, I mean, music theory is important, but that didn't come first. Like, the music came first. The theory is just there to explain what it is that's happening, so you can, I guess, easily, quote unquote, easily pass on the information to other people. Or if you need to like reverse engineer something you're hearing and really understand it,
Right,
so you can apply it in other scenarios and other keys and stuff like that. But if you're not listening and being affected emotionally by something and trying to learn what it is that you're hearing, I mean, I don't really feel like you can grow as an artist. Like, it's just impossible.
I mean, it's like studying from a book and not doing anything with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine trying to learn how to skate from reading a book.
You know, I've tried. It's not possible, and I don't suggest anybody do it either. That being said, if anybody, whoever is listening, if you want to comment in the chat, ask Dustin some questions about things you may not know, or just want to hang with us, feel free to do that. You can do that on Facebook and YouTube. Now, okay, jumping forward more, you know, what was your first live act? Like, what was, and maybe not like one-off, but like, what was the first time, like, the band thing became a thing? And where'd you grow up, by the way, too, for those who don't know?
Charlton, New York, yeah. So, like, Burn Hills.
Yeah. So how did you get linked up to the crowd that you're involved with currently?
I mean, to give you the condensed variation, I moved away for like 10 years or so.
Okay.
I went to college. Like I went to Plymouth State University, and then I went to Berkeley, and in between there for a couple of years, I was just like a ski bum and working at like a rock climbing barn. It was a gym, rock climbing gym, which is awesome if you're a pianist, by the way. Rock climbing, really good for your fingers, which is why I had to stop. I loved it, man. I was going like 7 days a week, all day long. Yeah, because it's inexpensive. If you're just bouldering, you buy shoes, a bag of chalk, and like I'd go out in the woods with my, like a bag of crackers and a gallon of water and just climb all day. It was awesome, But then I couldn't play because my fingers were getting all gnarly from climbing all the time. So I like had this choice, like, do I continue going this way, or do I just kind of like, well, I love music and I can't really play well anymore if I keep doing this. So I quit that and went this way. So then I went to Berkeley and I lived in Boston for a while. Worked for M. Steiner & Sons, which oldest Steinway dealership in the country other than in Astoria. And eventually, when I graduated, Amanda, my wife now, she's my girlfriend at the time, we were like, where do we go? We wanted to go somewhere. We didn't know where. So just by chance, I found a voiceover company in this area that they're like, we need some help in our studio. And I was like, this doesn't sound real. In Clifton Park, I'm like, that doesn't exist. Like, I'm gonna show up, and this is not gonna be what. So, long story short, it turned out to be awesome, and we ended up moving back to this area.
Wow.
And
she from this area too?
No, she's from New Hampshire.
Oh, she's from Hampshire. Okay.
So I was just kind of like, I was teaching, doing some studio stuff, and just riding my bike a ton, racing a bunch, like doing a lot of hiking, skiing, backcountry skiing, and whatnot. And I was playing, but I wasn't actively pursuing anything in the music industry. And then one day I was like, all right, like I feel like playing again. And one of my students at the time, my buddy Neil, was like, hey man, you should go over to Circus Cafe in Saratoga. He's like, my buddy Nick and my buddy James play this open mic thing there, and you mentioned you like these types of these styles of music, these genres. You should go and check it out. I think you'd be into it. And I showed up, and it was Nick Kopp and James Gascoigne, who I still play with to this day. That was like the first thing I started doing in this area, this little experimental fusion trio called Bone Dialogue. And it's all based on just our similar musical interests and improvisation and just being creative. And it just worked from the beginning because there's no barriers, really. You can just do whatever you want as long as we're listening. It's like having a good conversation with somebody, So that's kind of how I got back into that, or into the scene that I'm in now, was just through that. And I just started meeting people just from playing out all the time, which I did constantly because I love it.
So making connections, playing out locally in Saratoga Springs.
Yeah, everywhere. Troy, Albany.
Now, what period of time was this? Like, what were the other local bands? Maybe you were going out seeing. Like, where were you was there any shows you were attending that you were inspired by, like at like a venue like a Putnam Den at the time?
This was Putnam Den era, like bras hanging from the ceilings.
No way.
Yeah, so this was like, I just moved back to the area, and I'm like, isn't that place a pool hall?
That's what it used to be?
Yeah.
No way.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Good to
Taking
know.
it back.
Yeah.
We learned something.
We got to ask
That's
them. Yeah.
That's right. Ask Sly what they did with all those bras. I don't know. Maybe they have them in like a time capsule somewhere.
They got some tax write-off
In a
at
museum.
Salvation Army.
That's
or
right.
something.
But anyway, I'm still kind of like this. I was just so focused on the things that I like to do, and they're all super time consuming.
Yeah.
That I didn't really go out and suss out bands too much. I just kind of like, I'd be at home practicing, or I'd be in the woods like on my bike, and that's about it. And then I'd book a gig by accident or on purpose, and just it's amazing how often that happens, you know. And then
Yeah.
I'm like, hey guys, can you play here? We play at Hattie's a lot, like on Sundays.
No way.
And,
like currently or?
No.
Oh, this is at the
we
time.
used to, yeah. This was like 2014
Did they give you free food?
and 15. Oh yeah, for
Oh,
sure.
good.
Yeah. Like I think this was 2014, and then 2015 I started getting a little more focused. And then from then on out, I was teaching at Modern Day Music and doing studio stuff there, and I helped build up that place, like design their curriculum with the owners, and you know, it just all happened organically. I was just playing and practicing and like doing stuff, and I formed this other group with Jace Panucci and Steve Struess and Dave Spadaro. We like randomly one day we're like, let's do a project, and ended up playing live at 5 somehow. Like with no gigs under our belt. We were like, here's
Wow,
our resume, just like
okay.
here's a blank sheet of paper. But we're really good, we swear. You know, so we did a whole Michael Jackson instrumental tribute show, which was super fun. The Chronicles headlined. They did an Earth, Wind, and Fire set, which was insane.
That's cool.
It was really fun. It was right downtown too, because they were redoing the Alive at 5 venue.
Where was it,
on
under
water.
the bridge or?
No, it was shoot, I forget. I'm bad describing all.
Oh, it's
But it was
okay,
right, it was
yeah.
right. It was like behind the hollow, whatever runs parallel.
Oh,
That's
okay.
street,
Yeah,
you know?
I know what you're talking about.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
I kind of wish they'd keep it there because it's such a. It was a cool vibe, you know.
Yeah.
But I ended up doing that show, and then Steve was like, "Hey, my friend Mateo is gonna come and play some like auxiliary percussion." And I was like, "Sweet." And he's like, "You know the band Wild Adriatic?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "I know." I'm like, "I've heard of those dudes," and we played at Nanola with them before they went to Europe for their tour. It was like their send-off show, and it was like a Sunday afternoon, I remember. And that's when I met the dudes from Chromoscope too, actually, who I've known forever now. But Mateo played that Alive at 5 show with us, and we just kind of hit it off. And then one day I was at work, and he sent me a message. He's like, "Bro, what are you doing on these dates?" And it was like Halloween dates, and I was like, teaching, like, you know, taking care of 2 babies. My boys were like 10 months old at the time or something like that. And he's like, "Do you want to go and do a quick run to, we're going to Daryl's house, Milk Boy, I think, in Philly, and Nectar's on Halloween. Headlining? I think we played 2 sets. We were doing like some Zeppelin stuff and all kinds of things." And I was like, yeah, sure. And then shortly after that, we started doing more stuff, and I was like, I couldn't stay at the studio I was at because I was too sporadic. You know, I was like in and out all the time. Like, you guys are going to be sick of me soon if I'm doing this. So I took off, and then I just started meeting people and playing more. And
So when did you officially become a member of the band?
I don't think there was like a official contractual date, but I don't know. They just kept calling me.
Naturally just happened.
Yeah, I did.
That's cool.
I guess I'm not annoying in the van, so you know.
And I've always looked up to Mateo. I've always looked up to. I mean, once I got to know the rest of the guys, like over time through working in the industry, like, you know, Rich, Travis, fucking great guys, man.
Yeah.
I love talking to them. It's a different conversation every time, and I first knew Mateo from working in a ball factory with him, which was great during college when you literally like go home on a college break and like have no money,
Right.
And you know, you got to get ready to party for the next semester. So where's the funding come from? Obviously not just from, you know, your jobs during work study hours. Doesn't cut it because Natty Ice is expensive in some places.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always looked up to Mateo because I knew nothing about Wild Adriatic, and I wish I did at the time because I grew up in Lake George, and I grew up in the area where you and I, you know, like they were the guys to come out of there, and just like Formula 5, but in a rock and roll sense, and they've done so many great things, and I can't wait to see, you know, where things eventually go, but like I just I don't know. I feel like I owe them a lot because I don't know. Mateo was very accepting of me. I knew nothing. I was just some kid who liked the 2 Fish shows that I listened to. I didn't really expand on much. This is past my metal days by a year, and so I don't know. It's just
hard.
really cool that you guys connected and like I don't know, having that piano element in the band is like crucial now to me. Like you're one of my favorite people to take photos of, especially when you like, you know, hit that hand hard on the organ and just fucking rip it, dude. And like being like away from home and in a place like Portland, Maine, when we were at the State Theater, you guys opened up for Twiddle, which was kick ass, by the way. You opened up with what was that Zeppelin song?
Gonna Groove.
We're Gonna Groove.
Yeah.
Which was, I mean, if you don't know anything more than Zoso, I would have been like finding that tune right after I got done with the show, but like that was amazing. I thought the reception that the crowd gave you guys, there was a lot of people came out early for your set.
Yeah.
But being away from home with people from home was like the most comforting thing in the world.
Right on, for sure, absolutely.
And so just I don't know, a lot of great memories working with you guys, and I'm just so happy that like this is how I met you, and you know, from your time starting in wherever it may be when you began to start playing more regular with them, what were some of the more exciting shows or things that happened, or just memories you get to look back on from that period, you know, pre-pandemic? I just rambled on a lot.
That's right. That's just not
my fucking.
No. I'm with you. It's a tough question because, you know, there's a lot of moments. I think if I had to come up with something without thinking about it too much, the things that pop into my mind would be actually a set we played as our alter ego at Mila Music Festival. We played, I think, 3 sets that day. We played one afternoon set somewhere. It was really hot. It was middle of summer. I forget, at a brewery.
Where's Milo Music?
Appleton.
Appleton, Wisconsin.
Yeah, shout out to Appleton. Yeah. So we played a set there, and then we played a set on the main stage right in the center of town. And then we played like a midnight set as Multipede. And it was like, I just remember the venue was insanely crowded. It was really hot, and there was people literally like almost in the green room pretty much, which was essentially like a hallway and then a room with like, I think there was bunk beds in it. I don't really remember. It was kind of quick, and we're putting on these crazy, you know, costumes and these like white kimonos that Mateo found and these visors, and I couldn't like fit. I was like, do I put my glasses on over or under the visor? And they're like, we're going on, and my ears are like don't fit underneath the hood that we had to wear, and I'm like, and we had nothing planned really, and it was a super fun set because it was late. It was like, I think it was like a midnight set or something like that. We had these weird costumes on. The audience was really fired up. It was super hot. I don't know. It was just a cool vibe, a nice memory. Playing SPAC was obviously really cool, especially just from growing up around here.
I mean, so you got to play SPAC, opening up for Leonard Skinner.
Yeah. That was we played there with him. We played in New Jersey with him at the was it the BB&T?
BB&T Pavilion.
Yep. But like I don't know, just like that was my first Fish show, like 96 or something. I was like in middle school. My friend's sister took me and a bunch of my, you know, like ratty little friends. Dude,
that's what they called them.
I mean, I didn't understand what was happening. I knew the band because I listened to them through my sister, and you know, I was always hearing it in the house and stuff. But going to that and standing in the balcony and like, I don't know, I felt like the music was happening like inside me. It was crazy. Like had a pretty profound effect on me, you know.
So are you? I never really asked you. Are you are you a fan?
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Dude, cool.
But honestly, I don't. I listen to everything.
You're not like I mean, some people go way too deep into one thing, and that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, if they like it,
they like it.
Yeah.
Some people follow Fish like they follow the Pittsburgh Steelers, man.
Yeah.
And
sure.
It definitely is just the live aspect of that band. I think the big thing I like about them is, you know, I don't know, after getting over like the, like a lot of people first go to see a band like that to party.
Yeah.
Once you really like listen to the music and understand it, you don't need to party to listen to it. And I completely forgot where I was going with this.
Yeah.
So that's the point I was trying to make.
Yeah. It was just
Not at all.
it's an impressive
Yes. Oh,
scene
yes.
to walk into, especially then when there weren't a lot of people doing that on that scale.
No.
You know what I mean? And there was jam bands and there was people that played music and would improvise extensively, but they were doing their thing, and it's what I think most people understand as like jam music. So anyhow, that just had a big effect on me. It was just cool to play there,
For sure,
years
man.
later. It wasn't like on my agenda or anything like that. I was like, oh, this is awesome. I grew up coming here, watching the ballet, like doing everything. And I'm like, this is pretty rad, There's
It's got to be so humbling just to be on that stage, on the other side for that moment in time. That's the reason. It's not the reason why you do it, but when something like that comes along, you cherish it. You just it's and like Leonard Skinner, like they're they told Neil Young, Southern man don't need him around anymore.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I feel like in general, for me, playing like the venue I play at is kind of irrelevant.
Okay.
Like
Wow.
I don't like I've gotten more out of playing for almost nobody sometimes than I have playing with certain people for a packed house somewhere. It's all about the experience more than anything.
Yeah. Well, I'd just like to say quick, and I know we've touched upon it before. Well, for one, that's a very healthy mindset to have.
Yeah.
I've played 3 shows ever in my whole musical touring life, and none of them were at Spec.
Right.
But, like Frankie, like you said 2 or 3 times during these podcasts, you're never bigger than the stage.
Yeah.
But it seems like, just in really our time of semi-knowing each other and our first time, sitting down and having a conversation, you have a very calm mindset, a very healthy ego, I would say.
Well, it's just kind of like thank you, but I think just in general, if you're doing something and it's something that you chose to do, then you're doing it for yourself primarily, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't think that's a selfish thing, but I think it's important to realize, because when you start doing whatever it is you love for any other reason besides the fact that you get some sort of satisfaction from it, it becomes a problem. And I mean that in the sense of, it can become a chore. You can kind of lose direction and end up doing something within that field that you don't necessarily want to do, because maybe you're just chasing money around. Maybe you're just playing because you think you should be in some band, or you think you should be playing a certain way, which, I think sometimes some people have to do those types of things, but just in general, if you're doing what you want to do, I think everything else falls into place. You know what I mean? I feel pretty lucky that I don't ever play gigs that I don't want to play.
You call your shots.
Yeah, but I think that's by design, just because I constantly do what I like to do.
Exactly. You're not chasing the dragon. You're literally doing things that make you happy, and you've put enough time and effort into your career to be able to get there to do that. And that's where, being humble about it, and you are, you are like a role model, man. Like, seriously, like, it is, like, we are lucky to be able to do what we do. Not everybody has that ability. I'm not going to say ability, but, it's not for everybody. Number one, late nights, let's just say it. And number two, it's it's cutthroat.
It's certainly not easy.
It's not easy,
No.
and there's a reason why you were able to call your shots. But, like, I don't know. I just feel very fortunate and lucky that I was able to spend my time wisely to be able to open that door for myself and not just try to act like things just come to me, or
Right.
like I'm, you have to reach out to me. No, it's like there's so much behind the scenes stuff that you have to do every single day just to preserve what you have, and to, and you got to still fit in that time to to grow upon what you have.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, there's a quote I have on my wall. It started with a little thing that I picked up from at a Fish concert.
Yeah.
This dude handed me a little, like, slip. It said, "It always seems impossible until it's done." It's a Nelson Mandela quote.
Yeah.
And I loved it, and I taped it to my wall. Like, when I first started my business, when I started my business, I left my full-time job, benefits, 401k, all the bullshit along with it, and nothing was promised, nothing was guaranteed, and I just had that as an inspiration. And later, thanks to my girlfriend Mickey, she bought me like an actual framed quote of it. But I looked at that every day, and I was thinking about it the other night, and I used to always think, how the hell am I ever going to do this? How the hell am I ever going to achieve that thing? Or whatever that pedestal is for yourself at that time. And then you do it, and then you just end up like thinking, oh, how am I going to do this? And then it just happens, and it's just like, hard work, perseverance, taking care of yourself, staying active. And staying active is something that you brought up to me in a great way before we started this podcast. Staying active and keeping your body healthy is the most important things you could do. You are somebody who is an active biker. You keep yourself active outside of playing music. You're keeping your mind straight with it. How important is it to do that if you are, let's say, out all night every single day of the weekend, and you're burning the midnight oil?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's 100% necessary. I don't know anyone that wouldn't benefit from it. I mean, even like look at some of the best playing Miles Davis ever did is when he was boxing and working out, constantly and staying in great shape. And I mean, it just makes sense, because if you're a musician, you're just going to spend a lot of time sitting around practicing. And I don't mean for that to sound like you're not spending your time wisely. What I mean is you're not active, you're not moving, And if you're touring, you're sitting a lot in a van, and you're going from like sleeping to jumping up and carrying heavy stuff and like running around and then staying up late and kind of grabbing whatever you can really quickly to eat, whatnot. Not always like that, but a lot of the times it is, And I feel like if you can't find a way to offset that or balance it with something else that's the complete opposite of that, where you're keeping your mind active and your body active and you're moving, eventually you can burn out, you develop health issues, anything. Like, just sitting for a long time crushes my back, like I gotta get up and move around, which you'd think would be the opposite. You think moving around, doing stuff and playing sports or whatnot, you get injured, but I believe it's the opposite, So for me, it's super important, but not even just from the physical perspective. Like, I can't remember who said this to me. There was some engineer in Boston once. It was talking about, I think I was pretty young. I was like 22 or something. And he was like, don't be the guy in the session that can only talk about music. And I was like, okay. I'm like, what exactly does that mean?
You said this to me before.
Yeah. So his point was like, go out and experience other things. Like, don't just talk about gear and theory and shows and bands. Like, that's great, but you're going to run out of inspiration as an artist if you don't go do stuff. So for me, like, if I get on my bike or like hike up a mountain somewhere with my skis, that's tons of time to just think, and it's tons of rad stuff to look at, and it's tons of inspiration, and it's good for my body, and it's like, I may think of a song while I'm out there,
Exactly.
I may picture a
think
solo
of the best
or something.
Ideas.
Yeah, I mean, but you need to go experience life in order to, improve your craft as an artist,
100%, man.
Dave Brubeck, he started writing all that odd meter stuff that he's now known for, because his composing mentor told him to go travel. He went backpacking in Europe. He was in Turkey, heard street performers playing in like 7. He was like, whoa, I like this. So he started writing stuff in that meter, Everybody does that. Like, if you're going to be a writer, an author, if you don't do anything, like, what are you writing about? Like, what are you doing? Like today, I you're practically like I don't know, you're an influencer or blogger. It's like, you're just writing about, today I had some cereal, it was delicious. Like, who cares? I don't care. I mean, I might do it if I like the cereal, but who cares? Like, but if you go travel somewhere and you're like, I went to like Nepal, and I had $10 by the time I got there, and it was really interesting, and I almost died, and now I'm home. Like, that's a book. You know what I'm saying?
It's a life story.
Yeah. You know, so you have to go do stuff. So I feel like just being active doesn't necessarily mean like picking a sport or working out or something, but just doing stuff. You have to do things other than your craft. If you're a painter, you need to go, maybe you're a photographer too, so you can take stills of stuff and come home and paint it, you know? Like, you've got to go experience stuff and do things. Or maybe you don't. I do. You know, I hate to sound preachy, like, you need to do this, but it helps me, and I like it. So
no,
I don't like doing one thing.
I completely get you, man. I'm the type of person I cannot. I bounce off the walls if I'm not doing something actively and don't have my hands doing something. I don't know.
Dude, you're always doing something.
Like, that's the thing. Like, I experience an overload sometimes because of just the way I run my business, and I could work on some things. No, I think I feel better about myself if I get outside. Like, if I know I'm going to edit like 8 hours today, like, even just getting Iris outside, my dog, like, that's amazing. If that's it, you know, in a micro scale, but, you know, being around my friends outside of the music industry, honestly, playing video games, and not just doing things with my camera that involve 4 to 10 people on a stage. I never was like that before, and my big thing, and I've said this like 7 times because we've had 7 podcasts, is I want to get back to my roots. My roots are skateboarding, you know, listening to non-jam band music, shit like that. I feel like it's easy to forget who you are when you're in it. And so back to your statement, you know, if you forget about who you are, if you forget about things outside of your main trajectory, you're going to get a little lost. And it could create burnout. It could create some unhealthy habits.
You just get stale.
Especially on the road.
You just get stale.
Drugs and alcohol are a real thing. And especially if you don't know how to fill your time, you're screwed. I hate to say it, but like if you're going to go to a new city, even if you're traveling to go see a band, like, try to get out and see the town. Try to experience what other culture is outside of your own front door. It's not easy. It's easier said than done, but it pays off.
Yeah, just make time for yourself.
You think it's time consuming, but that thing is going to be the thing that makes you fuel back into your job.
Even running across the street to check out like a local coffee shop or something when you're on tour. You know?
Exactly.
Or anywhere for that matter.
And that's your thing too. I don't know why I remember this, but like I was out in Cali and I was like at this coffee shop and you messaged me about the shop in Cali. I think it was just some random coffee shop, but you were telling me that you'd like to go check out coffee shops.
Yes.
And I think we did that in Maine as well.
Probably.
Picked up a good brew.
That sounds about right. That sounds like me.
To jump into the North Country here and get you more included in the conversation before we hop into.
Dude, I'm just happy. I'm happy listening, man.
You did though. You worked the summit, which is Wild Adriatic Music Festival. And multi-P was a thing there. And I remember pudding being involved.
Yeah. Tapioca pudding, if I recall.
What happened?
Okay,
2019, by the way.
So to preface a couple of things. All right, so this was my second summit of the 2 I did. And by the way, thank God for bringing it up first, because for like months I was trying to remember what the other being of Wild Adriatic was.
Nice.
What the Dr. Jekyll was to Mr. Adriatic. And I was fucking beating myself up over it. Like, what was it called? And then, thank you, Multipede.
No problem.
Now I know. Knowledge is power. But I had no idea what was going on. But what I do remember is, I have a track record. Every summit, I've only had to kick out one person. Which I think is very mild.
That's pretty good.
Is it the same person?
No. Two completely different people. But I remember going up, not realizing, for one, that Wild Adriatic was not done playing that night. And I run up right, like, seconds before Mateo gets behind his set. I'm like, hey, just so you know, man, I had to kick somebody out. He's like, what? I'm like, no, yeah, listen, he was, just not being not good for the environment. And he's like, all right, we'll talk about it later. And then it clicked as I walked away. I'm like, what the fuck are they wearing?
Oh yeah,
Which, by the way, shout out to Brian David Lasky. That pool photo was fucking sick. It was one of my favorite shots from the whole weekend.
Yeah, that water was cold, man.
Was it?
Yeah, it was an odd place to end up after you play a couple sets, to end up in a pool with your clothes on, you know. But it was a great picture.
Yeah, great picture.
We were in there for a while too, actually.
My because of that music festival, anytime I'm back up in my hometown, I always stay there. You can bring your dog there.
Oh, no way.
Yeah,
it's a great place.
It's a great place, and it's underrated, and it's not nearly as expensive as it is staying in Lake George in the summer. That's for sure.
Yeah, no doubt.
But that festival is awesome. By
it was
the way,
fun. It was a good time.
Yeah, man. What are some of your good memories from that?
From the summit?
Other than Andy Frasco almost pulling down the whole chandelier.
Oh man, I don't know. That's another thing. Everything kind of blends together at those shows. But let me think. I remember we premiered some newer material that was really fun. I just remember being excited to play those tunes. Man, I think the Sitting with Frasco was fun. Those are always fun. But beyond that, the acoustic set we did at brunch. That was really fun. There was an old upright piano in the green room, and it was like a little banquet room. We did a acoustic brunch set the first year.
They got the grand piano out
out in the main room there too. But we did this in the green room, which was really cool, and everyone came and had brunch, and we played an acoustic set, which I really love playing acoustic sets with those guys. It's just
that's cool.
It's different. Yeah. It's a little more intimate. You can hear the parts and just the harmonies a little bit better, and I think it gives people a little more perspective as to what's happening in the songs, because they're stripped down. It's like it's quiet. It's quiet. It's cool. It was fun.
Now, speaking of Andy Frasco played the 2019 lineup.
Yeah.
You do some work with him sometimes, correct? Or
I with Ernie, we were writing some stuff for for the band, and I don't know where it's going to end up or anything, but we wrote a track together, and it's kind of like maybe 40% finished ish.
Okay.
It's like a rough draft, but I don't know what's going to happen with it, but they have it, and they're chilling and doing whatever they're doing. Yeah. For sure.
Now I gotta ask, how did you guys meet from doing the Rock Boat? Or,
yeah.
You did?
Yep.
So what was your first impression on Andy Frasco, other than what the main one was?
I thought it was awesome.
As a person, like one-on-one.
Andy?
Yeah.
Super nice. Yeah, I felt like I'd known him for years. Like we just kind of, I remember we walked out on the main deck of the boat, it was the back of the boat in the sports court or whatever. And I had no idea what was happening. It just sounded like there was a riot, and it was their set actually. And I was like, this is incredible. There's just like you see him like crowd surfing, and then you see like Ernie, and then you see I'm like, what is this? And we watched the rest of the set, and I'm like, that was incredible. Like these guys are super fun, really good musicians, and we all just started hanging out and talking. There's always like super jams on those boats and stuff, so we all got to meet each other. That was a cool year. We Corey Wong was playing with Caleb Hawley that year, and it was, I forget what year it was, but we ended up talking to Corey, and he came out, and we played I think we played Funky Duck with them, and which was really cool. We got to hang and play some stuff, and we met a lot of people that year, but that's how I met Andy and those guys in the super jams and stuff. We just started talking and hanging out and whatever. And we've seen them and played with them on the road a ton in different venues. We played in Philly with them on my birthday, which was interesting.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
A long time ago. I've had some cool birthday. Actually, those are some good memories too. I actually played on my birthday at Daryl's house too, not with Frasco, with Wild Adriatic. Yeah.
Okay.
And a lot of good birthday shows actually. I think another one was in Vermont somewhere. I forget exactly where.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyhow, but yeah, those dudes are they're busy. Frasco. They're always out doing something.
Yeah, I mean, they are like the greatest thing I think that has happened to the music scene in a long time, and I'm really excited that Frasco and the UN are coming back to Putnam Place in April, and they haven't been here since the summit, and they have new material. They have a new album since then, and I think from 2019 to now, I think if you didn't know, now you know. I mean, Frasco is rock and roll. And rock and roll, that pure essence has been missed.
Yeah.
And I think that's why, like, I hold strong to Fish, is because it's not about the music, just that. You know, when I go to a Fish show, I feel like, you know, this is what rock and roll was in the 70s, you know, in the sense of people gathering before the show, the festivities, everybody being in sync to the music. And somebody like Andy Frasco is a very nice, just breath of fresh air, because I don't know, I just feel like we've been missing something like that.
The things you're talking about, I think, in my opinion, it's inclusive. So in other words, like, if you buy a ticket for like a pop show or something, and there's nothing wrong with this at all. I'm just saying, if you buy a ticket for like a pop show or like I don't know, like an R&B show, not necessarily, I'm being too specific, that's ridiculous. But anyhow, you end up sitting down and watching the show. And it's cool, but you're here and they're up there. Yeah. With like a Fish show or like a Frasco show or something, it's more inclusive because they're coming to you, or the crowd's involved somehow, because it's like a party and people aren't necessarily just sitting there watching. It's not like you're at the opera, you know what I mean?
Right.
Again, nothing wrong with that, but like there's more of a divider between the audience and the performers. But at those shows, I mean, how many shows do you go to where like the artist ends up like possibly on top of you? You know, that's a Frasco show. That's cool. You know what I mean? It's like,
it's memorable too. You'll never forget it, and like,
you certainly won't.
No, and yeah. So if you're in the area, Saratoga Springs, New York, I think it's April 15th. Andy Frasco and the UN at Putnam Place, making the grand return back to upstate New York. Now, we do have a new segment of the show that we started last week, and Brett is going to tell you a little more, because Dustin, you might come home just a little bit richer.
Just a little. So to those of you who did not watch episode 7 of Cheap Flights and Cornbread with Steve?
Steve Mason.
Steve Mason, yes. Thank you, Frankie. We originally called it 3 questions or less, because the idea was it was going to be an all or nothing. Get 3 questions right, I give you a $20 bill, case closed. And then I realized, no, we're gonna get weird with it. Okay. So instead, I have like 7 or 8. I have to omit one because you mentioned the answer. I was going to ask you who the keyboardist was for the Doors, so we can just fucking throw that over there.
I already answered.
We were laughing to each other while you were sitting there. Like, I was trying to laugh while you were talking about. I was like, motherfucker.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, you cost yourself $5, buddy. You're fine. All right. So,
I don't get points for mind reading. All right, I'll bring a crystal ball next time.
We'll bring it up to the judges afterward.
All right.
So, all right,
the panel.
Well, as a keyboard person, let's start with some keyboard stuff. True or false? The inventor of the modern QWERTY keyboard, Christopher Latham Scholes, also served as a member of his home state of Wisconsin's assembly before inventing the keyboard.
That sounds fake to me. Because the actual invention of the modern day piano happened back in the late 1800s, where it was like actually full size with hammer action, 88 keys, 7 octaves and a minor third.
Now, are we specifying, is this an electronic?
As I said, the inventor of the modern QWERTY keyboard.
Oh, QWERTY keyboard.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's true. That's true.
I missed that part.
That's true, by the way.
Yeah. All right.
That is true.
I was thinking music.
Christopher Latham Scholes.
I didn't catch that.
He's a member of the Wisconsin State Assembly.
Neat. Well, they won't be inviting me to play with them anytime soon.
He's from Kenosha. They have shit to worry about right now.
Kenosha Kickers. Polka. Anyone? Home
I've never heard of it. No. Over my...
John Candy? Nothing? Somebody's got to know what I'm talking about.
I've never seen a single John Candy movie.
You've never seen Home Alone?
Led by...
Canadian Bacon?
I've seen Home Alone,
Uncle
but
Buck?
I've never seen Planes, Trains,
The Great Outdoors?
Great Outdoors, man.
Never seen any
Dude.
of them.
Bro, I was going to watch that the other day, and it was like free on a bunch of platforms.
No shit.
And I think I got mind hacked, and now you have to buy it or rent it everywhere just because I searched for it. I was like, thanks a lot, Steve Jobs. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Yeah, right.
R.I.P.
Thanks, Steve.
All right, next question has nothing to do with keyboards, electronic or otherwise.
Okay.
Who was the 37th president?
37th?
Yes.
Of what country? I'm just kidding.
37th. I don't know. I'm gonna
take a guess.
Uncle.
If I'll give you a hint.
Roosevelt.
No.
Okay.
Stop.
No
This
hint.
is my money at stake.
Yeah.
Okay.
Give it to me. I want to know for next time.
Tricky Dick Nixon.
Oh, 37. 37.
37.
Okay. It's a little more contemporary than I thought.
Yeah.
All right. On a full-sized piano, how many black keys are there?
Black keys? Gee, I don't know. I've never thought of that. I know how many keys there are. I know how many octaves there are. Crap. I'm going to have to, count them in my mind. I don't
Go
want to
ahead.
do that. Yeah.
Well, if you can do it quick.
How about, let's see, there's 1,
If it's worth the money.
2,
Dude, it's worth $5. It's worth the money.
3. I can't. I'm not. There's no way I'm counting all those right now. Go
Fair
ahead.
enough. 36.
Neat.
Wow.
36.
I didn't know if that would be something like a pianist would know.
Not really.
Like 6 strings. I know that's how many there are.
I think it'd be
Very
weird.
good.
It'd be weird if I didn't know how many octaves or how many keys there were in general. I
Okay.
never
That's
thought of
fair.
that. That's a cool
But the
question.
actual,
I like it.
okay.
If the question was how many black keys there are, in the band, that would just be 2. But
True. Sometimes.
sometimes. All right. On the topic of fish, what Washington County town did fish legend Trey Anastasio get arrested in?
Whitehall.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's $5.
Ding, ding, ding,
Sick.
ding,
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 ding.
ding. That's where I need
Thanks,
to
Trey.
Yes. All right.
Thanks,
Uh,
Trey.
This is a Disney question. I hate Disney.
I'll send it to Waterwheel.
In what Disney film were animators instructed to make the main character look like Tom Cruise?
In what Disney movie?
In what Disney movie?
Let's see. My wife would know this. To look like Tom Cruise. Let's see. It would have to be, I'm going to say, Pinocchio.
Aladdin.
Pinocchio.
Close enough.
I would have not got that.
That was not a legitimate guess. But
Which
yeah.
I want to stop
Wait, what
and
was it?
pause.
It was
Aladdin.
Aladdin. Yeah.
I want to
Okay.
stop and pause quick. Dylan McKenzie, the 6th man, as always. 36 black keys.
Oh,
This kid literally knows everything. Dylan
Sick.
has been one of our
Nice.
biggest supporters for Mirth Films since its inception. And he will always be the 6th man.
Thank
that's
you.
cool. I think if you were a technician and you worked on pianos, you would definitely know that. And I wonder if there was a point in time where I did know that, but it's never been a concern of mine. I try to forget how many keys there are. There's just too many damn keys in the first place.
That's a fair
Yeah,
point.
it's hard enough. I don't want to think about it.
Honestly, once I get past the 12th fret, it gets muddy for me. I'm like, I don't want to deal with it.
Well,
A lot of buttons on this.
so you got $5 so far.
Sick.
You have a chance to leave here with up to 15.
15. Wow.
All right. So, to those of you who aren't living under a rock, you're aware Alex Trebek died over a year ago,
Mm-hmm.
and has been replaced with 2 part-time hosts. Name both of them.
No idea.
Nothing.
I don't watch TV.
Not even Jeopardy.
I don't. What is I don't know.
He listened to Mozart, man.
That's a fair point.
Who is Chip and Dale?
Although I appreciate the effort,
Can I call Sean Connery?
Is he?
I don't think he'll answer.
He's
Yeah,
he's
he's
my.
that
It's
too.
fine. I told you I have a crystal ball. I can talk to him. It's no
Oh
problem.
yes.
Yeah.
So Ken Jennings, the winningest Jeopardy contestant of all time,
Okay.
and Mayim Bialik, most known for her role in The Big Bang Theory.
Okay. Sweet.
The
That's
most,
good.
The
But-
most.
I'm very happy for them.
At least you are the first winner of
Yeah.
this game show.
You were the
is,
first
It's
person.
still in development. This is like
It's good.
beta. We're in beta version
Yeah.
of the game
Some
show.
lab rat.
You
I
will,
like it.
You will leave here with money
I need
regardless.
some. Okay.
And I think you have a chance to leave here with 10.
Oh boy.
In what state would you find the world's tallest filing cabinet?
Tallest filing cabinet.
Oh, I know that one.
Dude, right?
Let's go with. I'm gonna go with New York. Why not?
Final answer?
Yeah, sure.
It's Vermont.
Is
So
it?
close, dude.
Filing cabinet.
When you go,
Oh.
Interesting. I was gonna jump to the Midwest somewhere just
It
because I was
literally is
like,
just sitting out.
Chilling in Burlington.
really?
Yeah.
You got to check it out. I only knew it because
Is this a thing?
It's
a Real
real
thing.
thing.
How have
Real
I
thing.
not? How have I not known this?
honestly, I didn't know for the longest time. Then I did.
that's
One
a
of the
10.
things, like I said, go out and see the town when you're out at a show, and we went out and saw this like literally huge. Like I had to be at least 100 feet.
That's cool.
Yeah, I think it is. It's just shy. I think it's like 86.
Imagine
crazy.
working somewhere and like that's something that you need to
It's
use
not
on a
even
daily
like
basis.
in a populated area of the town either. It's like in like a couple back streets,
Yeah.
like off.
Of course it is.
It's
Why not?
crazy, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
it's
really interesting.
Somebody's like, I just want to have a world.
Is that where they keep all the public records?
Imagine.
I mean,
yeah.
it's
If
a very,
you climb all the way to the
it's a
top,
very Vermont thing.
you actually know how your tax dollars are being spent.
That's right. It's just full of maple syrup.
That's actually
Hey, it's
just
all
maple
public
syrup.
though, you know.
True.
But-
That's interesting.
Anyway, well, Dustin, congratulations on being the first person
All right.
to win real life cash
5.
on my installment. That
Five.
was
Well,
$5
thank
American
you.
dollars.
One
All
egg.
I will put this in my sock.
Please do.
I don't want to lose it.
Taking a second to appreciate your socks, by the way, as someone who tries to wear wavy socks from time to time.
Right on.
Dude,
Thank you.
killing it with the socks.
I
Thank
will
you.
say
These were a gift from my wife, actually. She knows I like weird stuff, so she got me these.
I like it.
I dig.
I cannot rock the fancy socks,
Why
and
not?
I'll tell you why.
Why?
Last week, my girlfriend's dad gave me these like reindeer socks, like
Yeah.
fancy socks. I've never owned a pair of fancy socks before, but it was the day before. It was actually the day of the snowstorm
Right.
that we had last week,
Yeah.
and they're slippier than usual.
They're slick.
Yeah, they're slick. And I fell down the stairs.
Oh, dude.
I just woke up. I wasn't like drunk or anything. I like fell down the stairs and then like had to shovel all that snow. I was so mad. Like I'm like
See, I like
I'm
that.
finally recovered.
I like that element of uncertainty and danger. That's why I wear fancy socks, because if there's a chance that I might slip and fall down the stairs first thing in the morning, and nothing's more electrifying than that potential risk.
It's a song. It's something to write about, right?
Yeah, I guess so. You might be the only person that listens to it,
The
but
slipping man's blues, you know.
whoa! All right,
Yeah,
Wow.
I might even keep. I might
write that down. You
pen a
heard it
song.
first, yeah, dude. Coin that phrase. You never know what's gonna stick, man.
No, honestly, like I said, I feel like some of my best ideas come from like
Fancy socks.
not being in
Oh.
this room, man.
Yeah.
Like experiencing like falling down the stairs, like a ton of bricks, you know.
For
or
sure,
like,
man.
Or just whatever.
There's your first verse. You're writing a song right now, man. It's almost
Don't
done.
steal my lyrics.
That's right. Someone's gonna steal them. That's okay.
But dude, thank you so much for coming on the
Dude,
show.
thanks for having me.
man.
It's super fun.
And yeah, I just thank you for just doing just the intro music and just being an awesome person. What do you have coming up in the pipeline for anything publicly for people to come out and see it?
I'm doing a lot of session work right now and teaching. I've got a gig Friday at River Street Market in Troy.
Oh, cool.
With a bunch of dudes from Let's Be Leonard.
Who in Les Billion is gonna be playing with you?
Griff, Connor, Paul,
Awesome.
and I don't know who's on bass actually.
And Paul just recently got accepted to do
he's
a
crushing
graduate
it.
program.
Yeah,
or-
for sure. It's
Congratulations,
awesome.
Paul Guay.
Yeah, man.
He's an incredible drummer, man.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He's probably like my favorite, one of the most animated, other than like in a different form than Mateo.
Yeah.
In drumming, like just
Distinct
his jazz
personality.
style, very
Yeah,
like fast
sure.
and rapid, man. It's like
For sure.
Yeah.
And then playing some shows this summer. We just booked. I don't know with Mikey Omen and some other
yeah.
guys, but I don't know if they've been announced yet. So I don't know if I should say anything about those. But
Well, stay
those
tuned.
those would be cool. Playing a show in Bennington with some of the guys that own Akin Studios, like a funk jazz fusion type thing. Playing on the 14th of April, I think at the what's the venue in Glens Falls?
Park Theater.
Yeah, Park Theater. with
Okay.
Reese Fulmer and
Oh, Reese.
yeah, some dudes, some other stuff floating around. My trio probably doing some stuff downtown at some point, and just fun, low key stuff that I enjoy doing. Trying to keep it real. That's all.
That sounds like a great way to enter the springtime, man.
For sure.
Definitely excited
coming.
to come see you out. It's always an element of surprise sometimes when we do see each other. For example, just some of the teaching work you did at the summer camp.
Oh yeah,
Proctor's
doing that again this
Collaborative,
year
just
too.
walked in the door. Oh, you are.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
awesome,
actually
man.
wearing that shirt. I think underneath here. Yeah.
You are the way you approach your teaching, just from the outside looking in.
Yeah.
It is. I don't know. It's almost like you're not like teaching it out of fear. And like sometimes you have those teachers that like teach, and you know you're not necessarily scared of them, but you don't know how to approach them. But you're very easygoing, and I feel like those kids were responding very well to you. And I mean, it was just so cool to see that rock and roll band camp, and you know, you being that young, like now knowing that you were that young doing what they were doing, and you're I mean, what better advice to get from you, man?
I appreciate that, because I mean, I had a lot of lousy teachers growing up, and I'm not referring to music, but I've had those as well. And like in retrospect, just kind of like thinking about what made those experiences just unenjoyable.
Yeah.
I was like, I just don't want to be that ever to anybody. You know what I mean? I don't care what they do with the information I give them. I just want to make sure that I'm helping to inspire them in some way and helping them do whatever it is they want to do. Because if I'm not doing that, why am I teaching them? Like if someone comes to me and says, I want to learn, you know, how to play this song. Like, why would I preface that with a bunch of stuff that I think they should know? I should immediately start showing them that, and then kind of like work the other stuff in as I see fit based on what will help them progress and like maintain whatever talent they have. You know what I mean? Like
100%.
So, and it makes a big difference, man. And those early experiences are important. And the relationships those kids build playing together in that venue, it's like they may play together forever. Here's a good example. One of the first people actually I played with, you asked me this question earlier, one of my first experiences, I used to jam in my garage in 7th grade with Mike O'Donnell, right? So from Motorbike, Rodeo Barons, Cloud Lifter, he does tons of solo stuff, works at Parkway. Mike's super talented songwriter, guitarist. And 7th grade, we used to jam in my garage. I had a little Yamaha SY22 with the absolute worst organ sound you've ever heard in your life on it. And we'd jam and just play all kinds of stuff. Fast forward, like, God knows how many years later, I play Motorbike with him now. It's crazy. It's like full circle. I didn't see him for years. And now we've played shows together at the Linda and like, it's 97.7. They have a performance there. It's like it's like a black box theater. I forget. We played all over the place together. And it's just crazy, like how we never saw that happening. Like we lost contact for years, but I used to jam in my garage with him. So like when you're a kid, if someone's not like helping you and teaching you what to do and helping you build relationships with other musicians, and you know, you could be doing those kids a huge disservice and not even realizing. So
right.
I just try to, you know, be real and help the kids out and feed them advice and information that they can actually digest and do something with.
Yeah, and when everybody's looking for a drummer, now they got one.
Right on.
That's the problem. We're keyboardists, you know?
That's true. That's true.
But no, man, that's awesome. It's so cool that you're doing that again this year. And I got to ask you, what have you been consuming for content? What have you been watching? What have you been listening? Just, you know, in like current times.
Listening to? Man, I listen to music the way like people eat food. It's strictly mood based. Like I don't
mood based. Okay.
or gig based. Like if I'm playing, you know, like a blues gig, I'm gonna only listen to blues. It's kind of like it's like method acting almost, like getting in the character. Yeah. Like I find it difficult to, or not difficult, but it just feels uncomfortable to me to like listen to Mars Volta and then go play like a folk gig just because it's not fully 100% related, although I love both those things, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm all over the map, man. Some days I'm listening to Thundercat, some days I'm listening to this cool band called Men I Trust. Other days I'm listening to Bach. Sometimes I'm listening to Satie. It's like, other days I'm just like listening to Joni Mitchell. It's like, I'm all over the place, you know? The last thing I listened to, last night, what was I listening to? I was listening to, I think I was listening to like traditional, I think Italian music. Was that last night? No, I was listening to Jamiroquai last night.
Ah,
yeah,
okay.
Because I can't get enough of those bass lines, man. Every single Jamiroquai album, the bass lines, it's like a masterpiece. It's a master class on how to play that instrument. Just the counterpoint, how it fits in with the drums, just the space. It's crazy. The bass, I forget the guy's name, but he's.
Okay.
I think there's a couple different dudes, but phenomenal. So I've just been listening to a ton of that. Watching, what have I been watching? Dude, watched the Olympics. That was pretty cool.
Okay.
I always enjoy
We've definitely been doing
that.
some coverage of that.
Yeah. I don't really watch a ton of shows. I watch like mountain biking documentaries and skiing stuff. And
That's cool, man.
yeah, things like that. I really enjoy that. If I actually watch anything.
Yeah.
And then last night I was just listening to some tunes also that I got to play on Friday. That's all. So,
Nice.
Yeah. That's about it though.
Cool.
Yeah.
What about you, Brett?
Well, on the drive here, I was listening to I believe it's called Silk Sonic, the Bruno Mars Anderson .Paak project.
Nice.
Oh,
Holy
sick.
shit, dude. They got whatever it is they got going, I can dig it. That is baby making music.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know how else to describe it. If you guys are bored at home, 777, probably my favorite track off of their Silk Sonic album.
Yeah.
Can't say enough good things about it. Just great.
Throwback vibe.
Great, yeah, exactly. Very throwback. Just great instrumentation all throughout. I don't know how to explain it in a more technical sense, but it's good. It's really good.
Yeah.
In terms of watching stuff, started getting into like murder mystery shit and paranormal stuff. I fell asleep last night listening to a documentary on old Route 666 and all of the paranormal happenings that go on with that now, and since then became renamed like Highway 429 or something like that. Like if you guys have ever heard about like Skinwalker Ranch and all that, like this type of shit.
Yeah.
And how, I don't know, weird stuff like that. Something to
That's cool.
That's cool, man.
something to keep your brain active when you're not doing anything else, and think about the possibilities of other things among us.
Yeah.
And video games. I actually started playing video games again,
Yes, you were
Frankie.
saying that. Yeah.
Dude, played some fucking Galaga. And I played one game with the sole goal of beating my high score I had set over 2 years ago. I beat it, I closed the game, and I'm probably not going to touch it for another couple of years. But the amount of excitement I had as I hit the final score, as I hit, it was like 120,000. I'm like, dude, let's see how far we go. Made it to like 123. I'm like, good enough.
Nice.
We did
I like it.
How about
That's
you,
cool.
Frankie?
So, honestly, not too much listening this week, or not too much watching. Honestly, last night I spent most of my night procrastinating after I finished. I had we had the Joe Cerati trio. There's up and coming, I wouldn't say bluegrass act, but like acoustic blues act. This guy, you gotta look him up. He's one of the best acoustic guitarists I've ever seen play live in front of my own eyes, at least. And I don't know, like seeing him, and like Mahali sat in with the band at the after show, like seeing him, I don't know, really steal the show was really cool because I don't know, it's just a great New Jersey act. I had no idea what to expect. They brought me on for the show. I listened to some tracks before. Highly suggest listening to the Joe Cerati trio. I've also been listening to I got this one children's song stuck in my head right now called Pajama Time. I wish I knew the name of the artist. I'm just going to look it up because I'm also going to look up what the song I couldn't figure out that fucking Midnight North played. Excuse my French. But the Laurie Berkner band, Pajama Time. So all I'm going to say is watch the new South Park episode and you'll totally understand why the song is like, I don't know. It's amazing. And that South Park episode, which kind of leaks into what I've been watching, just really puts into good perspective on how us as Americans handle the things that we've handled over the past couple of years. It's just funny because it puts it in like simple terms, that like a kid would understand. Billy Preston, I've been trying to listen to let Spotify tell me what to listen to a little more, not just rely on what I like on my songs. And I always knew him. Actually, the first time I ever got exposed to his music was at this funk night at the Hollow 5 years ago. We'll Go Round in Circles. That's the first time I ever heard that. But then I listened to some instrumentals by him that I'm like, wow, this guy is amazing.
Oh yeah.
I love. I mean, is he a keyboardist or no?
Yeah.
Okay, because I didn't know if Billy Preston was a singer.
He's super talented. Actually, if you like him, you should check out. Listen to some Richard T. Just
Richard
look him
T?
up. Yeah, just explore.
Write that down. I just love that. I don't know, that funk. No silly lyrics. Just the music. I really like that. I enjoyed that. After we went to Bombers, I went on a Fugazi binge.
Nice.
That was really cool.
I like how you started at Pajama Time and you ended up at Fugazi via Billy Preston. That's like driving from Saratoga to Albany via Buffalo. That's like,
Dude, I don't like. People assume sometimes that all I listen to is jam band music, and that it doesn't bother me that people assume that. Like, I'm definitely happy.
Well, it is
people
weird.
know
It's like
what
if
it
I see
is.
you eating pizza once and I just assume that's the only thing you eat, it's kind of a strange assumption to make.
Exactly.
But we tend to do that with art. It's weird.
It is,
It's
and
it's like if I didn't know your name, I put you in my phone, like jam band guy with camera. It's like,
With
what?
camera.
It's like, come on, like what?
that dude.
Yeah.
I really was. I was like very into old school hip hop last week, and
Oh yeah.
getting super into reggae last week.
Yes.
But if I'm gonna have like two go-tos of genres, it's thrash metal, and if I'm working, definitely some instrumental music. But that's the thing I noticed last night. It's like I find myself least productive when I'm not listening to music. If it's just quiet, I can't think straight. I don't know why. My brain is trained that way. Aside from if it's a project that requires listening to audio,
Yeah.
I can't get anything done without music. Music is what keeps me going. But I've been watching back a lot of old live music videos that we've shot throughout the past couple of years on Mirth Films. I like to reflect sometimes. I think it's important to, just to learn and try to improve yourself. But it's just like so many great memories, like Cooperstown, in the smoker section at the Palace Theater and Palace Sessions. I don't know. I can remember almost everything about everything I do for the most part, unless I get too deep into drinking. But I don't know. Just so many great memories over the years, and
That's interesting. I don't remember anything about the shows I played mostly. Like I don't like forget that I did it. Well, sometimes I do, but I mean, looking back, like if I watch video footage of me playing a show, like I don't remember that specific moment because I think I'm just so present, you know what I mean? And I'm just thinking about what's happening. It's almost like having a random conversation with somebody. Like you may remember bumping into a friend of yours at a club like 10 years ago, but you don't really remember what the topic was when you're talking to them unless it was something really significant. But even then, you don't remember the details. I'm the same way. You know, someone might be like, "Oh, remember that time like we were jamming and you did that thing? Can we make a song out of it?" I'm like, "Dude, I have no idea what you're talking about." You know, like unless we have some sort of like a recorded memo of it, there's no way I'm gonna be able to remember that. So yeah, it's cool to look at old stuff like that. You know,
it is.
It's cool that you remember all those details. I kind of wish I could.
Just like I don't know, like whether if it's a song from that night, like for example. Mahali had a lumpy head, man. At the Palace Theater.
Yeah.
The Palace Theater again. Just little things, a good conversation. I don't know. You get to see a lot of people you don't see often when you're out at shows, and this is completely off topic, but like it's just the stuff like that I remember, and it's the things like that also keep me doing what I like. But that song that I couldn't remember that Midnight North busted out with, "Can You Get to That" by Funkadelic. Great lyrics, but I was on a binge from it for over 2 weeks because of Spotify.
Yeah.
And then I'm just got done shooting my 3 songs down in the pit.
Yeah.
And then I'm walking up, started talking to somebody, and I hear him bust out with it. It just was I don't know, it was full circle.
That's cool.
It was really cool. And but as far as playing video games, I have been playing more Saints Row with Doug. We're on Saints Row 3. We're about 25% in, if you really wanted to know. But then Sea of Thieves is another game I've been playing. It's like this game where you play online with your friends. You're on a pirate ship together, and you go seek treasure and blow up other ships. I personally realized during that period of time playing it for 3 hours of how time-consuming it was, and it scared me, and I probably won't ever play it unless my friends are playing online too. I try not to let this get in my way too much, and it doesn't. But shit, when all you do is one thing sometimes, and sometimes it's so windy down here, you can't even enjoy going outside. It's just therapeutic to do something other than having the camera in my hands, or kind of pointed at me. For that being said, I do want to plug Paradox Brewery only because they were nice enough to hook us up with a beer over the past 3 weeks. Paradox Brewery is located in North Hudson, New York. If you are up in the North Country, I highly suggest going, even if you don't drink beer, because they have great food as well, and they actually have live music outside. I don't know if you've been up there.
I haven't.
But it's beautiful, especially if you're an outdoorsman. Hit a good hike and stop by.
I've heard a lot of good things. Yeah.
Yeah, good beer. They make pizza there
Right
on a conveyor belt. It's delicious,
That's
and
cool.
And they're all great people. It's an independent craft brewery. Support local. Also, Memorial Meltdown is taking place May 27th through the 28th through the 29th at the Lake George Festival Commons in Charles Arwood Park, which you have played as well.
Yep.
Beautiful location. Same great people behind the Adirondack Independence Music Festival. It'll be nothing but a party, to say the least, and it is Dave Eamon's birthday weekend, so party on, dudes. Other than that, this has been episode 8. Dave, thank you so much for coming on,
dude.
Man.
Thanks for having me, man.
I'm really happy this worked out. We don't usually do podcasts this early, but this was fun. I feel like having usually we do the Mirth Minute.
Yeah.
Right before we do the podcast.
Yeah.
And it's like a whole thing. And this is I feel like...
Yeah, everything about this is backward, but I've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's a combination of things. I've only had one beer.
Right.
So I'm... don't let my demeanor fool you. I'm mentally a lot more in it than I normally am. And because it's 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 like 1:30. You don't have to deal with all those annoying fucks in the chat.
Yeah.
No, love you
we're
guys.
kidding.
I'm
We're
fucking
kidding.
around.
Yes, guys. But thank you so much. Please go follow Dustin and everything he does, the bands he's playing in, Sly Fox Hustlers. Where can everybody find you and keep up to date with you?
Instagram is probably the most reasonable place to do that. Yeah.
Instagram.
Yeah,
And we will make
Facebook,
sure we'll put it in the
Instagram.
description. Yeah, man. Thank you so much. I
Thanks,
hope you
man.
have a great, rest of this end of the winter.
Yeah, dude.
And I hope you're able to get out as much as possible, ride as much as possible, and just keep doing what you're doing, man.
Yeah,
it's
every
awesome.
day, man. Do as much as I can,
Hell yeah, man. Well, thank you so much. Again, this has been episode 8 of the Cheap Flights and Cornbread Podcast. If you would like to buy a Cheap Flights and Cornbread t-shirt, head to our website, mirth-films.com, where you can also find all the latest news, live music coverage, original video content, Mirth Minute, everything that we're doing on Mirth Films. Go right there. Check out the new Greg Bell documentary, trailer that came out just recently, which will be coming out fall 2022. Hope everyone has a great rest of your day, and don't forget you can listen to this on iTunes and Spotify. My name is Frank Cavone. Buy some cheap flights and eat some decent cornbread. Have a great day.